Welcome to our final episode in this series led by young people from Cork. Today, Scott is speaking with Padraic, a senior investigator with the Ombudsman for Children's Office. Today, Padraic shares some of his experiences working for 16 years promoting and protecting the rights of children. Hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome back to the Redjuvenate podcast. Today I'm here with
Padraic Walsh.
Padraic Walsh from the Ombudsman for Children Centre in Dublin, and he's just going to talk a bit to us about his life and stuff, you know. So, Padraic, who are you?
Who am I? I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I have two girls. I'm a teacher, ex-teacher, but I think you're always a teacher. I'm a lawyer, and I stumbled myself into this office about 16 years ago, answering an advertisement in a paper, if you believe that. It's also online as well. Would you like to work with children? Didn't know what the Ombudsman Children's Office was. Thought it was a great idea. I thought, I could spend some time there. I didn't think it'd be as long as I am there. So that's who I am.
And your job, senior investigation, is it?
Yeah, I'm so for an Ombudsman's office, you have to be able to investigate complaints on behalf of children about administrative actions of public bodies, schools, hospitals. And that's what I do. I investigate the complaints. I help make sure that we make the right calls on complaints that come to us and how to signpost people. And I try to make sure that public bodies, the government departments are being smarter. If I can say that, being smarter, I've said it. But how they set up their laws and procedures to help young people and children.
So what kind of complaints would you get? Like on a, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever?
Oh, like we just had the annual report last year, and it's in around 2,000 complaints a year. We get complaints about schools, we get complaints about bullying in schools, are schools doing enough? Complaints on behalf of children who want to access resources in school, but they can't get to them. Complaints about housing, people need houses. Complaints for people in direct provision, families in direct provision system, or even just type of protection now with the Ukrainian crisis.
Everything really, so it's not just children really. But
it's not, it's all family complaints. And I thought it'd all be just about children's complaints.
Yeah.
I thought we kind of go, okay, mom and dad out, what is the child? But it's all family complaints and the circumstances they're in. And it changes all the time. That's sometimes the great appeal of the job. You just never know. Sometimes you peep into the inbox and you go, oh, what's this going to bring? You don't know. You really don't know.
So would all the complaints be like actual valid complaints, or would a lot of them just be, there's no point?
So there's a part of legislation, and I think it was that talks about, if something's trivial or vexatious, you don't have to look at it. And I thought, because I came from a law background, a solicitor, I thought we'd be saying, no. We've never get complaints that aren't affecting some child. Yeah. It's not really felt. And we've never used that part of the legislation to talk about, oh, that's just a small complaint. It's always a big complaint. Yeah. It might be about a small issue, but the young person or their family, whoever's looking after them or fighting their corner, is really negatively affected. So we get some complaints that are too early, or you got to send them back. Look, you need to try that yourself. You need to, what you've said to me makes sense. You need to tell that to the person who's responsible and see can they fix it. And some are things we just can't look at, but they're serious enough to try to help them. So we might get a complaint about we could get a complaint about the guards. And we say, well, actually, we get what you're saying, but that's not for us. That's actually for the guard ombudsman or the GSOC, what they're called.
Yeah.
Or we try to help people. But no, I thought we get loads of stuff we wouldn't be able to look at.
Yeah, you think that, with 2,000 a year, you'd think a few of them would be
there might be one or two that that's not really for us.
Yeah.
But I think because we've become better well known, a better use of our website and social media and our platform, that people have better sense when they come to us, they're kind in the right place.
Yeah.
When I started off, possibly we're getting complaints that, that's not for us, or you think we're somebody else, that we should send you elsewhere, but no, it's pretty much.
Yeah. So you see, Niall he probably does a lot of work, does he? Do you like his work? Do you admire him or whatever?
Oh, I do, yeah. We're very lucky. Niall is, I go off, goes around the country. We try not to be Dublin centred. We try to get out and about and outreach around the country. So Niall will often be, people associate the Ombudsman work with Niall.
Yeah.
I think they think Niall does all the complaints, or he does all the investigation, does all the work. And I don't know, does he do enough to stop people thinking that either. So I don't think he says to people, well, I have a team, but we are his team that help him on that. Yeah, I admire how he does his work. He's very, he's authentic. He goes out, he goes to people, he goes, meets them. He's real with them. And he's not afraid to try and give advice and help.
Right
and that
person to be the
helps us.
ombudsman. So, like,
What's that?
the right person to be the ombudsman.
Oh, I think so, for sure.
Yeah.
We're definite.
Definitely. Yeah. So, since you started 16 years ago,
Yeah.
have you seen a lot of positive change for people, young people, like children?
Yeah, I think I have, and I'm kind of wary to say it's so much negative gets thrown about where things are, but there's a lot of positive out there. School life is different for young people. Even the time I was there, even teaching, but even actually in my time in the office, schools are more inclusive places for children, for young people, for students. Different things get taught, different approaches. Young people are better able to, with social media, information online, digitalization, democratization of information. Answers are there, information is there, and access to know to get help is there for young people. Now, are there the things that match up with the need for help? Maybe not. But I'm reluctant to kind of go, things are bad, if I think there's some improvements.
Yeah, definitely. When you were like my age or whatever, 18, 19, did you think this is what you do? Definitely not. What were you like? What did you want to do when you were?
I was 7, but I went to university at 17, way too young. And I started down in Limerick on my own, living away from home for the first time ever. And I thought I'd go teaching. And I thought then I'd just be a teacher forever. And I turned up in Tala teaching at age 22 in a tweed suit, ridiculously just out of place, and only 4 years older than some of the leavers I was teaching.
Yeah.
And I thought I just spent 40 years just stood behind a desk, not really engaging with people, just reading from a book and just correcting homework and doing that. I wasn't in the job a week, I'd say, to realise this, having to engage and be child-centred and be human and be humble and be wrong and be right and be open. I never thought that. I loved teaching. Ended up, I also loved law. But I also realised I used to teach. I used to teach engineering and woodwork. I'm a terrible carpenter. I'm a terrible welder. Luckily, I'm bad at those things, I think. But I was decent enough at teaching. Yeah, I just was bad at the subjects I was teaching. And when I realised when I was teaching that I'd be flipping to my commentary about things. So somebody be coming in the morning and be hugging the radiator, and I was, what's wrong? Why don't you flick on the heat at home? And I think it was maybe a couple of weeks, just shooting off like a 22-year-old does, or 23-year-old. And so we don't have central heating at home, And then that was just a real humbler. Because I can remember in our old house, we were in this big gang of us as well, a small little house at Mayo, and I can remember putting in the radiators with my father, putting in central heating. I thought, it's one thing to be taught you're an idiot, but when you're an idiot, you're an idiot, and there's no fool like an old fool. So I thought, actually, there's an advocacy piece here. I'd much rather be helping than just teaching in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was a humbler for me.
Continuing on that, like, what have you learned from your job now, working with young people and children?
What have I learned?
Anything at all?
I've learned not to be flippant about it. I've learned try not to be tokenistic about it. So what drives me up, people say, kids are resilient.
Yeah.
Some kids are. Some kids have a real tough time. And it's up for adults and people in charge to try and actually create an environment to help them. What young people have taught me is that to keep empowered, keep asking questions, keep taking what they want, keep that as an active piece, and keep their participation in what's going on for them a real thing. So if you're asking an opinion on something, or ask for engagement, or if I'm asking you a review or a young person to review, wait for the answer.
Yeah.
Don't try and second guess it. Don't try and meet it. Don't try and fit that answer into something like fit what you want to do next. Actually have it as a real participation thing. Are you happy for this to go ahead? Do you get what I'm telling you there? What can I do to help you more? Am I making sense here? Things that has taught me more, and I continue to do so. And it's I'm often mindful not to be. It's one of my pet hates is like young people being patronising their views and this. Now you're a great subset, aren't you? Great to do this, aren't you? Great to stand up. That drives me. That goes through me in a way. But thankfully, and this is why I love the law. Our legislation says we have to have the best interests and give effect to young people's views in our legislation. I'm glad it's there because it means we have to try and be more open about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've learned from young people. Just to keep energized, keep it fun, keep it light if you can.
Yeah.
But take it seriously.
Yeah. So you were saying about like law, and you're really interested in law. If you weren't here, do you think you would be like some sort of solicitor or work somewhere else in law?
I am a qualified solicitor. But would I stay at it? Would I? No, I much prefer fighting and advocating for somebody's voice.
Just anything.
Anything. I thought I'd be. I'm well matched to this. In child-centered approach, and thankfully law has changed as well. That there's more space, so it doesn't feel like a niche work, like to work on children's rights on their behalf. It's a recognised skill set.
Yeah.
It's a recognised career path that you want to advocate on behalf of children. That you can do that.
It's available. Like you can just try and do that. Yeah. So you're obviously well versed in the law. Is there any issues around the place that you are striving to change right now? Like, I know you said before you came in some law that just was signed off on. Is there any other kind of stuff that you're working for? Like,
it's the frustration. It's so slow.
Yeah.
You can get a public body to change its policies and procedures nearly overnight if they're willing to do that.
Yeah.
Law is slow. It is so slow. And even changing the way systems are set up for children. The big thing that's coming along is what used to be called the Parent-Students Charter in schools, but it's the Community Charter now, but how schools set themselves up and what they want to do. That's so schools, such a large portion of a young person's life is in school, and the kind of school that a school wants to be in cooperation with the parents and the management of the school and the community, that's a big deal. That's an issue that will affect a lot of children. Issues that have other laws that affect children. Yeah, there's issues about access to housing, direct provision, homelessness, special accommodation or special care accommodation for young people. There's issues like that need to be that we get to have our say on. So sometimes we give out about democracy, but it's the best form of government we have since the last one doesn't work and all that. That was I think Churchill said that. But actually, we've a chance now to decide how we want young people to experience education in schools. I think that's probably the bigger one. Not a big hitter, but it's a subtle one that you'll hear about over the years to come. And you will actually need students groups, parents groups, teaching groups, unions, everyone just engaging to make sure it's the best way.
Yeah, just to have people there to even talk about stuff as well is always
to have a voice in that case. This is the time for that.
Definitely. So I did ask you when you were my age. I know it was probably a lot more than 10 years ago, but 10 years from now, do you still see yourself in here or just see yourself doing some other?
I'd hope that in 10 years' time, I still have a curiosity to try and a motivation to try and see something wrong over there. What's going on over there? And that's the beauty of this job. You learn so much with all different systems, but something doesn't sound right, and then you ask a little bit more about it. Then you ask someone you trust, do you think that sounds right to you? And there's enough different voices here, different experiences, backgrounds to tell you actually, part that doesn't seem right. I hope if that's still happening, and I'm still thinking that way, I hope I'm still here. But if that's not, I go back teaching. It's a solid enough job. They'll take me back.
The right answer to that question was, in 10 years' time, I'll have done my job so well that I won't need to do anything else. There'll be no more complaints coming.
Oh, you raised a good point. So what to talk about that actually in Ombudsman sort of, I'm pure nerd. Okay, on this. They talk about like a built-in obsolescence. So, it's sort of the kind of, if you're so good at it, you stop being needed. You almost erode yourself from existence or the need to be. I wonder. As long, this is ending on this note, it's awful. As long as there's those people that will mess up. You're rare to see actions that occur that we investigate that someone deliberately set up to do a bad thing. Rare.
Yeah.
No one gets up in the morning and go, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to discriminate against that family, and that's my job well done.
Yeah.
You know, go home in the evening. What a great day's work. No one sets up to do that. It's inadvertent. It's indirect.
Yeah.
It's disproportionate. They didn't understand the action and what the effect would have.
Yeah.
Or so as long as there's people doing actions, the human
Someone's going to mess up. Like,
just always is.
Yeah.
It's just always the way, and there'll always be a need. But I don't know yet what the background radiation point for people just screwing up and making mistakes is. At the moment, there's so many things that are going on.
a lot of mistakes.
Not only a lot of mistakes, but systems that people are working in. We're yet to reach that sweet spot in the office.
I think we'll ever get
200
years in the road election good.
So with science, we're still alive. It didn't use time. And we're kind of, or the defrost us, whatever they need. So we go back and go, how many complaints this year? And someone says it's 2,000. I wonder. But things like the school charters or complaint handling, if we can just get child-centred complaints, if people knew what a complaint would look like or knew they're going to be answerable to a question that would occur, I think we'd see a drop-off. I don't think that. I think if people were given space or given time to kind of roll back on a decision and go, actually, that's not my answer, can I go back and change that? Sometimes we get caught.
Have to follow on, literally.
Follow on, and that's what you see. You see a mistake made and a kind of a doubling down on that.
Yeah.
Now, I should always get the caveat on things. We only see the complaints that come to us that don't get resolved. We don't see the ones that come to us where a principal of a school or someone, a local authority housing kind of goes, what did I say? You said it was Friday. Oh, no, I could never. Oh, it was a Tuesday. Oh, I forget that. Come back to me, come back. Let me look at that again. And that never goes anywhere. Or we don't get the complaint where someone just, and the principal or the social worker just come out and apologized and said they were having a bad day and that's not what they meant.
Yeah.
They're not going to come to us because it's solved.
No point. Like,
it's solved. Everyone's good. So, maybe we'll...
Someday you might be absolutely...
We'll end with hope someday. I'll be so good. I'm not actually needed.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.